You can tell it's Sunday morning. This is my third attempt to try and record this video. I should just do lives. It's way easier. Just do lives. It's way easier. Anyway, good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. Take 3. There is a game today. It's St Mirren away, and it's always a fantastic game. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I seen a headline today. And get the binoculars out because they're coming again. Yes, they're coming again. Clement vows to take the game to Celtic in spring at Glasgow Derby, defeat shock at Parkhead after a week of wheeling and dealing before the transfer window. But before he said that, he was listening to this.
They're hungry, they have a desire to become better. We have a lot of sessions with video.
Ooh. Ooh.
私の体を滑るとき私は幸せに
And at that point, you just spat your breakfast out. Sorry, apologies. It couldn't be helped. I've had many sessions with video. VHS video. Or was it Betamax? I can't take him serious whatsoever. Anyway, the fact that is Matt O'Reilly has left the building. Matt O'Reilly's left the building, and today's a big day because Paulo Bernardo is the one and only Celtic player that will take advantage of the fact that Matt O'Reilly has left the building. We lived, we loved, and we watched the Wizard of Oz at Celtic for many, many years, and we moved on. And we managed to overcome our loss when Tam Rogic left the building. We witnessed and adored and admired the way that Matt O'Reilly has performed on and off the field over the last couple of seasons. We will welcome, we will watch, we will admire, and we will have a new hero in Arnie Ingles. Watch this space. It's going to be a massive transfer window week. We've never said that for the best part of 2 months since the beginning of July. It all comes down to the nitty-gritty, and it's pay your wages day, boys. It's pay your wages day as far as the board are concerned. It's pay your wages. Play for your wages. Work for your wages. Aye, work for your wages even. It is that time of the time of the transfer window where it does all heat up, and I am expecting it to be a busy week for Celtic as far as Celtic transfers, incomings and outgoings are concerned. I think there's going to be at least 3 or 4 players that will leave the building this week, and I think there's going to be at least 4 or 5 if Brendan Rodgers gets his way. I think there will be at least the 2 midfielders that we know that Celtic are in talks with. There's also the left back position, and there's one person that says that the left back position will be filled by the one and only Kieran Tierney. No, he won't, because he's injured again. He got injured during Scotland's Euros, and he was injured last season in Spain, and he was injured before then. And a lot of people say, I think it's the bus has passed on that one, don't you think? I think it is. I mean, but Aidan McGeady thinks 100% it's going to happen at some point. Kieran returning to Celtic, it's all about timings. It remains to be seen. Well, if he waits out the final year of his contract at the one and only, which it will do, he'll wait out the final year of his contract and then he'll leave for free. Imagine spending £25 million on a player and then let him go for absolutely nothing. Jesus. And then he comes back to Celtic. You're an Arsenal fan, you'll be raging. Absolutely raging. But would you take Kieran Tierney back in a year's time? This is the big question. A lot of people say, yeah, bring him back, but he really needs to do a lot with his fitness and just be consistent. But I think Brendan Rodgers is one manager that can get the best out of Kieran Tierney, and I'm not a big fan of players coming back. I'm really not a big fan of players coming back because I think sometimes they can lose that legacy that they had. You know, we've all got fond memories of Kieran Tierney. I mean, I sat in the North Curve. I've got fantastic memories of Kieran Tierney over the years. And I think it was just amazing the way that he was one of us. He was one of our own. You know, he wasn't one of these youngsters that fucking decided to go off and he learned his football education at Celtic. He wanted to play for Celtic. It meant the world to him. And then when the offer came in, it was a hard decision for him to take, but it was one that was kind of forced upon him. Will he come back? I don't know. I'm not too sure. It's more than likely there's a high possibility of a chance of him coming back next season when he is under freedom of contract. I need to dust that fucking thing. I've not done it yet. But anyway, we move on from Kieran Tierney and we talk about the players that will play today, because it is a massive game today for Celtic. We need to win to go back to the top of the table, because there was a trophy handed out yesterday for being top of the table for 12 hours. Now, St Mirren away is always a hard game. It's a tasty game, and they have been playing in Europe. So let's just hope that they have a little bit of a European hangover when it comes to the game today, and we can take full advantage of that, and we'll get off to a cracking start. Even though that Matt O'Reilly has left the building, I don't think that the team will be too much changed. Obviously, the fact that Matt has went to England to do his medical, there's going to be one definite change, and that's obviously going to be Paolo Bernardo coming in. He's going to grab that shirt and saying, "That's mine. I don't care who's coming in, boss. I've been here a year on loan. I'm not giving this shirt up." And I think that'll bring out the best of Paolo Bernardo, knowing that there's guys coming in, and he'll be thinking in his mind, Paolo will be like, "Wait a minute, I had to wait my turn. These guys, even though they're coming in on big money, they're going to have to do the exact same. They're going to have to prove that they're better. They're going to have to prove on the training pitch that they're better than the players that are already here. They're not going to just walk in and walk straight into the team. And don't care what the cost. It's not like the bad old days where you had the three amigos that come into Celtic and they just walk straight into the first team. I think those days are kind of gone unless you're spending 25 to 30 million on the likes of Matt O'Reilly and he's coming to Celtic at that price. But that generally doesn't happen. They will be placed on the bench, I think, for the Glasgow Derby, the new guys, next week. I think that they'll be brought on at some point. It depends on how quick we can get them in this week. If we can get them in and get a good 2 or 3 training sessions in with them, then you'll see if they make the bench or not. If not, they might even not make the bench next week. Anyway, when it comes to it, we have our very own Great Dane. Yes, we've got Kasper Schmeichel in goals. He's going to be the goals all season. I think it's going to be interesting to watch how much we bring in Sinisalo. I thought that might have brought him in for the cup game, but Brendan Rodgers thought, remember the cup game last year? We had a little bit of an upset, so maybe just start once you get into the season a bit. They want that continuity at the back, Brendan Rodgers does. It'll be interesting to see what defender we're bringing in this week to replace the one and only Liam Scales, because let's face it, he is basically untouchable as it is at the moment. So the back four will be the one and only Alistair Johnston, who's an absolutely fantastic player. Cameron Carter-Vickers, he is unmovable, and there was somebody put a £20 bet on that Cameron Carter-Vickers will be sold next summer. And I said, no, he won't. It'll be a minimum of at least 2 years Cameron Carter-Vickers will be here. He won't be sold next summer because Celtic are trying to build something around him. And Cameron Carter-Vickers is a person, he doesn't seem to be the type of guy that will jump at opportunities. Remember, he was passed about like... I'm not even going to say it. Anyway, he's had lots of teams down in England. He's been there. He was put out on loan at Tottenham a few times, and he's loving having a home. He's loving life in Glasgow, and I don't think that Celtic will sell him next season because, let's face it, we've nobody to replace him. So there's going to be Cameron Carter-Vickers, Liam Scales, and Greg Taylor all at the back. And Greg Taylor is the one that's has went for the past... 5 years now. There's been speculation and there's been players came in, Alexandro Bernabe, and Greg Taylor's just went, got my pint of water, smash up, you're not getting it. And I think that that's what the one and only guy in the middle of the park has to do when he comes in today. Anyway, Callum McGregor will start. Rio Hatate, a massive game for Rio Hatate today, because Rio Hatate needs to now think to himself, I've been pumping off to the media back home about how I would like to play at a higher level of domestic football. And Matt O'Reilly's just left Celtic for 25 million. Rio Hatate today has to show the world before the end of the transfer window if he wants to move this week. I don't think he will move this window. I think it'll be either the next window or next year. He didn't do enough last season for me to warrant a big money move this transfer window. Although Leicester have been in contact with Celtic and they're keeping tabs on the one and only Rio Hatate. Celtic do not want to lose Rio Hatate, let that be said. But I think that this is a game that if Rio Hatate really wanted the move, he could go out and he could bully this game and show how good he is. You know, turn up and total dominate the game. And if he does that, and we see the Rio Hatate that we've all seen and loved and know can perform to that level, well, it's only going to do one thing. It's going to make sure that Celtic win today. Now, Paulo Bernardo will be in the middle of the park with the other two, Calmac and Rio. And like I said, it's a massive game for him. It's a massive game. Although he's a big game player. Look what he did in the Scottish Cup final. He took control of that second half. He did take control of the second half and it pushed us on to the win. You've got to say that, you know, and it's fact, it's evidence. The evidence is there that Paulo Bernardo can be that big game player. Will he perform this week and will he boss the game? Because you've got to remember, when he came on the second half of the Scottish Cup final, he took control of that second half when it was kind of going against us for a little bit of the second half. You know, we didn't play as good the second half, but we got that goal. And it was all due to him in the middle of the park. And I think that he'll be buzzing, absolutely buzzing to play the game today and to play the game next week and just show them once again that Kuz back again here to rule the roost. Anyway, and going up front for the front three, that's an easy one also. You look at Dyson. He'll be put back onto the left flank, and after scoring 2 as a striker last week, I think he'll be put back on the wing. Adam Ida, could he get his first shout? Because it is still a game where Kyogo, he's not going to be 100%, even though he has been back in training and everything. But I think Kyogo would be better coming on the second half of the game. How's Kyogo's mindset as well? With all the speculation about the Man City coming in for him. And I did ask the question. Hopefully I'll get a reply back this morning about my contact down in Manchester. If that is going to go anywhere. But the way that Pep Guardiola spoke about it, it doesn't look like they're going to sign any other players this transfer window. But we'll wait and see if an offer was to come into Celtic. How would Celtic react? And maybe I could see the big Adam Ida just being a bit more physical for this game, because it will be that physical. And the last thing that you want is Kyogo's first game back. And I watched Man City last night, actually. I never usually watch them, but I watched the highlights, and I think realistically, if Kyogo was to go to Man City, it's a team that he would probably excel in, because it's not the hustle and bustle of the SPFL. You know, you're not getting shoulder charged. You're not getting really bad tackles like you do in the SPFL. You're not getting hit off the ball. If he's out in the wing in Man City, I think that he would flourish. I think the missus thinks he's too small when he would get battered around like a fucking little boy, but I think he would actually flourish in that Man City team. Not that I want Kyogo to go. I want Kyogo to stay before you all start freaking out in the comment section. I want Kyogo to stay, but I think Adam, either he could get the nod today just for that physicality, and Nico Kuhn, could he get the nod before James Forrest? James Forrest has had a cracking start to the season, but Nico Kuhn has that effect that he is a player that has come to fruition. Will he get a game today also? Will he start, even though he started the rest of it? But James Forrest is on the other side, and that's why Dyson was... Anyway, on that note, there will be a live. The team comes out around about 10:45. The team will be announced by the one and only Celtic, and Brendan Rodgers will have decided who plays, who doesn't. And we'll all sigh at the fact that Matt O'Reilly isn't there. But anyway, just think, you could have been watching 70s porn with the one and only Rangers manager. And on that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world. See you in live in just a couple of hours.